guest I've had so far too.
Really?
Yeah. I have to switch the cameras.
Have you had a lot of guests?
Had about 30 so far.
30?
Really straightforward. You know, it's like
Yeah.
in terms of the actual objective explanation of things.
Yeah. So I've been delving more into the intricacies of things, but that's not very, like, I'm finding this really distinct difference between. By the way, are you already recording things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, here, sorry.
No, it's fine if you are. Yeah. I've been finding this very distinct difference between, like, making entertainment and making education. In fact, I think it was, who was it? Jazza was just recently saying, oh yeah, education or tutorial videos, they don't get clicks, they die.
Yeah.
And I think that's true actually on YouTube. Like, in some ways it's like, yeah, you get a jump start by doing education videos or art tutorial videos because it's serving people, right?
Right.
Like, you're serving the viewer. It's like, oh, I want to make something that'll enhance their life or give them a question that they've been asking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then, that's short-lived. It doesn't really last. It's like you get this burst, whereas like if you might not have had those people clicking on it because it's a new question for them. You know, It's something they've been wondering, so they Google it or something like that.
Well, I totally disagree with that, actually. I disagree because I think that, people will continue to Google gesture and color theory forever, and if you have the best video,
there's always new people.
Yeah, but for an entertainment video, like, how many times can somebody watch a marker review or something more entertaining?
Well, they don't rewatch it.
Yeah.
But it's a broader audience.
I guess I think that's true, but I think with tutorials, it's the rewatchability of them allows them to last longer, and as a result, they're shared around a lot more over their lifespan. Like I'm thinking over like 10 years or something.
No, don't get me wrong. I built so much of the value of my channel on our education and on tutorials. But what I'm finding is it's this very small percentage of actual people.
Yeah.
And it's even broader if you go beginners stuff. Like, when you look at my videos, for instance, like my most popular videos are like beginner's guide to Photoshop.
Yeah.
Now I do have a lot of loyal people who come back every Friday and they keep up with what's going on in my life.
Right.
But I don't really do like a personal blog. In fact, or vlog or whatever, personality channel. That's not what I do.
Right.
And in fact, this is probably like one of the few instances where I'm talking as a person and not an educator or not as an artist on my channel.
Well, that's part of the whole idea of this is, you only see the surface level of all these instructors like Stan or Jazz, or you see them as the entertainer, but you don't see them as the person.
Yeah.
And there's so many more levels to you than just being an artist and a teacher and somebody who works in games.
Yeah, it's really just such a small part of my life, actually.
Yeah. Right. It's like 5 or 10% or something.
Yeah, but like I enjoy interviewing other people. I enjoy when I get to have guests on my channel. And what's kind of nice about having a decent number of subscribers is you can ask more people. You've experienced that from what you've gone through, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or you just get access to more people who are interested in talking to you because that's the theme of what it is that you're doing on your channel.
Absolutely. Well, and I guess the point of this, it's not to talk about the technique. I mention this in every podcast. It's like my catchphrase at this point. But it's not to talk about the technique or how to get in the industry or any of the like objective sides of learning art. It's all about the why of doing it.
Well, I don't have anything to say then.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. No.
Well, it's I think
that's good. This feels like it's going to be a breath of fresh air for me. To be honest, I've done the same thing with my videos. It's all about what you just said.
Yeah.
For like 8 years.
Right.
That's been my focus with my channel. So, the person, I guess, like behind the art and the why, right?
Yeah. It's like, I know a bit about your history. You worked at Blizzard for a while, and then you started a YouTube channel. And
I don't want to talk about my history.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually retiring from concept art.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if I told you this.
No. We might have talked about it like a year ago or something.
I wanted to. This has been a multi-year plan.
Yeah.
But like I reached a point where, I had been putting off. I created this IP called Twilight Monk, and a lot of people who follow my channel know it because I do art books for it, and everybody goes, "Oh, well, this would be great as a video game." Well, I'm finally sitting down, I'm finishing, I'm making my game.
Dude.
It's hard though because I keep getting people like clients reaching out to me, and they're like, "Hey, are you available? Is your team available?" And I'm like,
No. Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
to say no because like it's money is one of those things where it's like, yeah, sure, I'd love to have some more, you know, and I'd love to be busy, and it's nice when somebody just gives you a job to do.
Right.
But there's also, when you sit back and you realize that like life is finite, you really don't have forever.
Right.
Like I'm 40, I don't want to say, just mid 40s, let's say, and like, how many years have I got left to do the things that I've been dreaming about? Like I was talking about making a Metroidvania back in 2005.
Yeah.
I pitched it to Capcom when I worked there, and they're like, no, Metroidvanias are dead. Now I've sat on the sidelines as, Ori and the Blind Forest and like Hollow Knight and all these hand-drawn Metroidvanias are coming out. It's like, and what better way to like really, I guess, kind of focus my life in. And also, I mean, we have a mutual friend who kind of died young. And it's like, well, damn, how much time do you get? We don't know. So do the thing. And you just did a big upending your life and changing everything to live for the now.
Absolutely.
So, and if you've prepared for it, then go for it. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it's the thing I really believe is that the dreams that you have in your head, they're right in front of you, but it takes a leap of faith in order to actually go and do it. You know?
Well, I'm not taking any risks. The truth be told, like I said, I've planned this for so long that it's quite literally like finances are in such a place where it's like I don't even need to like work for other people. I need very little. In fact, a lot of it is my fans keeping my channel alive and keeping, like buying my workshops and buying my art books and buying my novels and things like that. So really, like, also a lot of it is also, as we talked about before, minimizing your lifestyle. So I'm a bit of a minimalist.
Right.
But I'm a contradiction because I also collect old video games, retro video games.
Well, again, I think it's I mean, everyone always talks about like the golden handcuffs for working at a company. It's like, I mean, everyone like there are a lot of people that I know that are in an enviable like, the situation that every art student wants to be in. It's like working at Riot and making $200,000 a year or something. But I guess a lot of people don't think about rent and then car payment and then going out and all this stuff that adds up to a lot of money, and you're unable to save and feel comfortable, maybe buy a home. It's like a very it's a nice lifestyle, but inevitably it might feel like you're trapped or something at some point.
Well, beyond that is not just the financial cost of living, but the opportunity cost. I mean, what if every day you're building something, you're building this like Lego kit, and then you pass it over, and the other person on the other side of the table just takes that apart and hands it back to you. At some point, you're like, you know what? Like, it's cool. Hey, I get to build Legos all day.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah.
But at some point, you're going to kind of go, you know what? I think I'm going to take all these pieces and like, I got my own thing I want to make over here.
Yeah.
And like, it may not pay me as well, and that's the sacrifice, right? But like, what's more important to you, making more money or living a full life?
Right.
Or looking back on your life when you're 60 and going, damn, there was all that stuff that like I always dreamed of and kept all these notes about, and like I wrote all these short stories and like all these scenarios for this game. I'm finally just going, you know what? I got like probably 20 to hopefully more.
Absolutely.
Years.
Yeah.
What's the average lifetime?
80 years.
80 years.
Yeah.
So I got many more than that then. Yeah, like 40 years. But like, I'm not going to spend 40 years on my game. But my point is, just go for it. Like, I've made so many excuses because it was like, well, I'd really like to do that, get that gig at that big prestigious studio. Now it doesn't matter to me at all.
Well, and once you get there, the desire for the next thing just it overtakes that joy of getting the fancy job or something. Right?
That happens too.
Yeah.
But it's also more that like the bigger the studio and the more glamorous the situation, the more fleeting it is.
Yeah.
So like being at Blizzard when it was 60 developers and I was the only concept artist on Warcraft, it was fucking awesome. Yeah. Because every sketch I did, they'd put up on the movie theater screen, and the whole company would be like, "Oh, we're so glad we got you." And then after they get other guys in there that are like really, really amazingly talented, and they're the new bubblegum, they're the exciting new flavor, and they're paying him a lot of money, and you're kind of old news. Yeah. After 6 years, that happens no matter who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, well, what am I doing this for? For money? For status? For the envy of other people? I don't fuck about these things anymore. None of it matters to me anymore.
Well, and I think, people are fundamentally products of their own environments, and the more somebody spends time in that kind of environment, the more they start to value that as part of their personality and who they are. You know? Yeah. It's like if you are at a company and then you don't have anything else in your life, then being the badass concept artist or the legendary person there becomes part of your identity, and you're afraid to lose it at that point, you know?
Right. But here's the irony of the whole shebang bang. It's what you freaking live for.
Yeah. Right.
And it's life. It's like once you get there, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
But for 20 years, you might go, oh, it's awesome. I can finally be happy once I get there.
Right.
Once I get it. So, like, here's the thing. I have no regrets, and I would never say, like, dude, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, but the one thing I would tell people, though, and I've always said this, is like, I'm going to go into it again.
Yeah.
But, like, go for the smaller companies.
Yeah.
Blizzard was barely known when I started there.
Yeah.
Like World of Warcraft had just launched. They were known, but it wasn't huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Riot Games, very small. They couldn't get artists.
Right.
And like the first couple years at a place like that is amazing before it blows up.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know,
The people
yeah.
are what make it fun, and feeling appreciated.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say the same thing. You know, a big part of like if somebody is an artist, they want their stuff to be seen. You know, and in a big company, there's just so many people. It's hard to have a voice. It's
hard to be significant.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that really grinds at some people. I saw some people become very depressed.
Yeah.
I've heard some really sad stories about concept artists who ended their lives because it was like they never felt appreciated. And that's the really difficult thing. It's the catch-22 of a high competition world, you know. But that's kind of why I think psychologically at some point you kind of have to go, I'm not competing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not like when you're young and you're fired up and you're like, yeah, I can see a vision for how video games are going to go next. It's like, yeah, get in there, do that, leave that contribution, like do that, be that person that guides things forward and pushes things forward. But like at some point, I think it's, for me anyway, and I can only speak for myself, but like certainly, yeah, if you start to find yourself becoming like bitter or resentful, like I don't want to pass that on, man. Yeah. So like I'm more excited now that I've made this decision. I'm more enthusiastic about indie game development, about the pride of ownership of the thing that I make. Get to keep every pixel I paint now.
Yeah, right.
Like when you've done this for 20 years and you don't own anything that you've done.
Right.
Yeah, man, like it feels good to just, even if nobody's ever heard of Twilight Monk, to me, like
huge.
Writing those books, when I get a letter from somebody who read that book, it's like that really matters. What matters more than just getting a paycheck.
Absolutely. Well, and again, I think I've adopted somewhat of I've heard it labeled as like optimistic nihilism, where it's like the world is so big that you know, on the grand scheme of things, World of Warcraft doesn't really matter.
No, that's true.
Like in our small ecosystem, with like if you worked on these video games, it's huge. You have all these fans and all this stuff, but you know, if you ask the average person in Peru or you know, India or wherever else, that you know, they might not even know what that is, you know.
Right.
And it's like the more you zoom out, it's like on a, you know, in 1,000 years it won't matter. It's like, and from that perspective, you should really just decide what matters most to you and just live like that's incredibly important.
It's hard though when you're young. You don't have, like, you've obviously had more perspective because you've experienced a lot of traveling. Yeah. But like, for instance, when I was younger, I worked on World of Warcraft and I went to Japan.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
But if you go to Korea, South Korea, as a Blizzard developer in like 2010,
it's huge.
They put you on television. Like I was on television with celebrities.
Yeah.
Like in Korea.
Yeah.
So it's so strange that I think world travel is so essential for anyone. Yeah. Especially concept artists, by the way, artists in general, because it exposes you to so many different ways of thinking, and it's like you can't be angry at a whole nation of people who think differently than you.
Yeah.
You can't be angry about the way the world just freaking is.
Yeah. Well, and it's, you know, I think if you grow up and you're in this like working on World of Warcraft and then having it be seen by 30 million, a billion people or whatever. I mean, it's the same thing as like, you know, somebody in their room, just like the process of you making your graphic novel is the same process as you working on a big video game. It's just you at a Cintiq coming up with ideas and making illustrations.
I mean, it's much more collaborative.
Yeah.
You know, working in games is a highly collaborative kind of an environment, and I really like working with a well-oiled machine of like a team of pros. Yeah. And that's a very different story when you're going indie and doing it all yourself. So in that way, very different. Right. But in terms of like psychologically, there is a kind of like a damage that can happen from doing concept art in the wrong kind of environment. Yeah. I don't want to say wrong kind of environment. in a highly competitive environment.
Yeah.
And what happens is you start to see so much of your work get thrown out.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is a recurring theme that's happened on your show.
Oh yeah.
Fucks with your head, because then you start to go, nothing I do is ever going to be good enough.
Right.
And not just not good enough, but like not good enough for me to even release.
Yeah.
And you start to like really doubt whether you could draw that comic.
Absolutely.
Is it ever going to be good enough? Or maybe I should reiterate it, keep doing it. Like, because concept art is about iteration.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw out all this 6 months worth of work. Well, that's what they would do at Riot.
Yeah.
And if that's what people expect from me, so like, I guess I better just cancel it or whatever. And I'm finally coming to like feeling like I can be a whole person, warts and all, completely flawed, and just go, yeah, dude, like this is my mistakes, this is my failures, this is just, it's just, and I'm not trying to make something on the budget of a $50 million game. I'm literally just doing what I can do as one person, solo developer, and I'm loving every day of it.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed that a lot. I've talked to a lot of people at Riot who experience the same thing. It's like everyone is so modest, but they're also rock stars. They're also such brilliant artists. And again, when everyone else around you is saying that they're garbage and they're as good as you or better, it's like it does diminish your self-worth and I guess the value, your personal value of who you are, you know.
Well, artists always attach way too much of their personal value to their art, and some of that is just because we have to delve deep into like who we are to pull up the best of us for our art, you know. But at some point after 20 years, I can tell you, man, it doesn't even feel like it's you anymore.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't. And I've been very blessed to. I started an art house about 8 years ago, and it's the only way I survived the last 8 years in concept art, because I like to call myself a recovering concept artist now, because like without my team, without a group of people to handle some of those tasks, it's like, man, redesigning an icon or a crest or something for 3 months straight, you start to feel like you're losing your mind if you don't have somebody to like pass it back and forth to. So I've worked with some really great artists and in my time and hopefully left a good enough impression. Most of them tell me they want to come back and work for me, but I'm like, I'm not. No more contracts. I can't even have that distraction right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's you know, for a long time. Sorry, it does get loud because we're on the street right now, but. I guess part of it is I've been trying to see communication in general as just the idea that you're trying to communicate on a macro level as the goal versus how you do it particularly, you know. It's like doing a piece of concept art is just trying to communicate a very specific idea in a specific way, whereas doing a YouTube video or playing a piece of music or, you know, dancing or something is still trying to communicate ideas, and no form of communication is higher or lower than others, you know. And for me, it's like you know, I wanted to be a concept artist for a long time, and then I was like, oh man, this isn't for me, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to actually do that with a studio?
I was interning in Cambridge.
You mentioned that,
Yeah. And it was fun. It was cool, but you know, it just I didn't, you know, it's just not who I am. You know, people that are that, you know, more power to them. But
right,
you know.
I definitely was that. And I loved it. And here's the thing, I love game development. I love it to pieces. Like seeing the final result. You do a concept for an environment, you're working with a modeler, they put it together, it goes in game. There's like very few feelings like that awesome. And watching reviewers play it and they're having a good time. Like, you know, and then the designers really, you know, coming through it, like the whole thing, like when it works, particularly with small development teams, it's like really rewarding. It's the best. I love game development. In fact, like I went back to doing comics for a while, or just for like these 2 Creed issues. I used to do an indie comic called Creed, and I had a successful Indiegogo campaign last year. I don't know if you know about that. But
I'm pretty sure we talked about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And but the thing is like I love game development. I'll never give it up. But it kind of has to shift for me. Like it has to be a little bit more about a sense of ownership and connection to players. I think that might be a thing that's missing if you're just in the trenches with a bunch of other concept artists pitching ideas, and they're getting tossed out the window for maybe a better idea, and then you feel resentment towards other artists, but you got to be nice and this is competition frenemies kind of a thing going on, and that that can burn a person out from maybe even wanting to do it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I feel like games are becoming so competitive now to where, like, you're either doing a passion project or you're working on a big company. You know, it's like like making something that's like the tools have become so accessible that you have to do something brilliant in order to get any attention, or do something crazy, or you know, it just on Steam there's just so much volume that it can be very intimidating, I'd imagine. You know,
There's a lot of noise.
Yeah, tons of noise.
I think I don't have an answer for that. I mean, that's something that I released one indie game already.
Yeah.
It was just like a side project. I learned it. It was like learning to program, kind of a Meat Boy clone.
Right.
It's called Aikida, and that's on Steam. It's like a free to play game, just to see how it works. Like, how does it work? And lost in the sea, you know. But I learned a lot, and I think that that's the thing that's shifted, is that I'm no longer looking at like success. I don't want to make it. Yeah. Like that's a weird concept to me. Like, people go, oh, Flappy Bird was huge, so maybe if I make mobile games, I could get a big success like Flappy Bird. No, or you could just, like, if you like mobile games and you want to make mobile games because every day you get excited to wake up and make mobile games, like, maybe that's a better reason. Yeah. It's kind of like putting the cart before the horse.
Absolutely.
Like, so to me, it's about finding the thing that allows you to be your most honest, passionate self everywhere.
And not compromising. You know, it's like something like
That's
Flappy.
hard.
Well, it's easy to look at something like, oh, I can make Flappy Bird, you know, but it's like that guy already made Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
You know, it's already there. It's like it's not that great of a game, you know, and it's not innovative, you know.
But some people do it just to learn. Like I said, I made a Meat Boy clone just to learn.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way to go about it. Is you're not like. You're not pursuing the treasure or
it didn't matter
the
that
fortune, right?
Yeah, it didn't matter that it didn't sell. I tried I thought, like, oh, we're kind of living in the era of Patreon. Yeah. Like, people will just support things that they really like, right? Yeah. But so I made a optional DLC, like it's just a premium badge, like a backer badge, and like hardly anybody bought it. The game has 20,000 downloads, but like it's made $200 on Steam. It's like, damn.
Dang it.
So I'm not doing free to play anymore. You know, we'll be doing that. But the learning process, I wouldn't have known that, and it's really good that I did. Yeah. Like, you know, even though that game just took 3 or 4 months to make. Right. You know, so it's worth it to live passionately, and sometimes you have to sacrifice, like, you know, living in a bigger house, or maybe you got to live in a van.
Yeah, it's 20 square feet. Yeah.
But you get the benefit. You look at all the benefits you traded.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think it's eventually. Enough of the things that you do compound, and that success that you're chasing, it just appears one day, you know.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's not the point, but like it might just appear out of nowhere, you know. Right. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, the thing that a lot of those people that are chasing the Flappy Bird success, the thing that they're actually chasing is something that you get for free. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
They're thinking they'll get it once they get there.
Right.
But instead, what happens is you become scared to lose it. Yeah. Or you become obsessed with it, and then you become focused on money.
Absolutely.
Or you become focused on something other than the joy of being present, or being alive, or having life experiences, or meeting new people, or doing podcasts, or just like chatting, taking the time to be present with people, which is ultimately more rewarding and fulfilling than most of those accomplishments and achievements.
Yeah. Well, and the great irony of all this stuff is that it's right in front of you at all times. You know?
Right.
It's like it doesn't take that much effort to do anything. And part of the benefit of living this way is I'm not afraid of anything, really. Like, if I get fired from my job, I'm just like, I don't spend any money, you know? Yeah. It's like I get less Chick-fil-A, you know? That's the consequence, you know? Yeah. But it's like, it's not that huge of a deal. You know?
But there are barriers in their mental. It's all in that person's mind. Like those barriers, and that's a hard thing for some people to face, and it can make people angry to hear that too, you know.
Yeah.
But I noticed something happened a few years ago. Like, every time I would take a vacation, I'd just come back and I'd feel so free. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that.
Absolutely.
You have that all the time now, but like when I would take a vacation from like my job, and I would go overseas, or just go to an island somewhere, or even just go get out of town to the countryside. Yeah. Spending a couple of weeks, like by the third week, you start to feel like that's just your life now. Yeah. And there's this feeling when you come back of like, I want to chat with everybody. I just want to hear their stories.
Optimism, right?
Sort of like, and it's a weird thing because we get so locked into our repetitive like survival mode of safety, like where we're just going to our job, we're doing what's expected of us. Sometimes it's comforting to just have somebody tell you what to do, and get paid for. Know that you're going to cover your bills. You can buy that new TV, get that new PlayStation, whatever. Like all those things will be covered as long as somebody just gives me something to do in exchange for money. And that is a barrier, because how do you like go, no, I'm okay, I don't need that. I'm going to take my big risk, like, live in a van or travel to another country for a while.
Well, and I think it takes a lot of like the way that I've been told to go about it is just to like write down as much as you possibly can. Like write down what your perfect day is and try to make that happen. You know, it's like when I look at, I used to own a lot of art books, and I used to own just a lot of stuff, like a couch. And
you still own it though.
Well, yeah. I guess. Well, I'm living in a condo now, like right this second for the past few months. So
I didn't know that.
Oh, I guess I have stuff right now.
Okay, gotcha.
But it stresses me out,
Oh, interesting.
But I guess it's like, when I look at that stuff in my room that stresses me out, it's like I don't use it 95% of the time. 95% of the time I'm out, doing some adventure, or I'm at work, or I'm like exercising, or
Does it give you anxiety to look at it? Like
it does actually. It's like, oh man, if I wanted to move somewhere, I would have to worry about putting this in a box, and
the things you own end up owning you. Tyler Durden.
Absolutely.
Totally. And I recently went through this where so during the lockdowns, I got obsessed with collecting old retro games like PS2, PS1, and 64. So like I got this big like shelf, and I was so proud of this collection. It's like, oh man, it's like a game store in my work office, you know. But recently I just came to this conclusion. I realized I don't even play these. There's too many new ones coming out. And even those I don't really have time. Like I can't drop Horizon to play Elden Ring or whatever.
There's too many fucking games.
There's too many, and like so there's this psychological thing that happens when I look at that shelf that makes me go, that's just a to-do list, and on top of all the things I want to achieve, am I actually excited to wake up and play some old PS2 game? Nah, not really. So in that way, what I ended up doing was I literally stripped it down to like my favorite 5. Those are on a shelf, and I got them like, they actually bring me joy to look at them. The memories.
Absolutely.
You have a small selection. This is your room or your space here, But my point is like you've got those special things that are like they're great memories.
Absolutely.
They're memorabilia from an experience, or they're just something that really reminds you of what you're passionate about in life. And those are the things you hold on to. You let other things go. I didn't throw it away. I didn't sell it. I put it all into storage so that I can have like a holiday down the road where I just go, I remember this old game. Maybe I'll play old PS2 Ratchet and Clank or something.
Well, and I think it's important to acknowledge what's actually meaningful to you.
Right.
It's like I spent 6 months driving from California to New York and back, and I saw that there's just so much formless potential in the world in general. It's like, if I wanted to, I could just go move to Salt Lake City and hang out with all my friends there, or move up to Montana, become like a hiking guide, or go to South Dakota and go hunting, or be in Brooklyn. It's like I can do all these. I could go to Germany, or I could go to Croatia, or I can go anywhere, and I want to do all those things. And I realized like, oh man, there's only like I can only choose one thing. I can only choose one place to live
for now. Well,
for now, but I guess like, going back to the finite amount of time thing, it's like there's a wealth of opportunity, but not really, because you have to you have to choose between playing video games and watching a movie, or you have to choose between playing video games and watching a movie and like going exercising or reading a book or getting really into archery, or inevitably you're gonna have to make sacrifices based on just who you are and what you value, because you don't have infinite time to decide to be everything essentially.
And you don't know when you might fall in love or have a relationship or have a kid as well. And those things, that is certainly something I didn't think about much in my early 20s. But I did feel that kind of like burn to like get to where I wanted to go.
Absolutely.
To like live my fullest life, even though I ended up just locking myself into a job where I did what you said. The most I aspired to was get a big TV and the new gaming system or whatever, because well, that was convenient. It was something I could actually experience. I couldn't just like up and live in Tokyo. I mean, our old friend Kevin and I used to talk about like moving to Tokyo and starting up a hookah bar.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so
like,
awesome.
that would have been cool. Like, sometimes I think I might just get out of art altogether, and I know that sounds nuts, but I think I'll always want to do something creative. I'll always want to create
music,
things.
or something. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I love to create. I love the expression of it.
Yeah.
But it's there's certainly, I feel like you said, there's more. There's so much more in the world, so much untapped potential, and especially lately.
Yeah.
Liberating myself from obligations sometimes can allow for that.
Absolutely. I think a big part for me has been like being okay with who I end up being, you know, because like me living in a van, there are sacrifices to me doing this. It's like I'm not at a big company, I'm not in college, I'm not like pursuing a serious relationship or anything, you know.
You're not building momentum in a direction that is quantifiable, or like it's not like you can put this on your resume.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I can point people to my podcast.
Sure, yeah.
But you know, that's about it. And it's like, okay, you know, there's something there that's like I'm getting a lot of value out of it, but there is a sacrifice there. And I have to be okay never being an art director at a big company, or never, you know, having that status that I honestly I think I want to a degree. You know, I think about it.
Who doesn't?
And not judging myself or not letting other people's opinions of me affect the decisions, my day-to-day decisions, you know.
Well, you're on the internet, so you're going to experience a lot of that.
I've already had a few people comment. What?
No kidding.
Yeah.
How are you handling that as a new YouTuber? Like, I mean, I say new, but you've been doing this for like a year or so, right?
Yeah, 6-7 months or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of a new experience for you. I've been doing this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So like I've become a little bit more numb to it.
Right.
But I'm wondering, like, does it still affect you?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, I'm doing this thing and it's so embryonic. It's like it changes day to day. You know, it's like I mean, I'm obviously in a new location every time I'm talking to a new guest, and as a result, it's like it feels like the momentum on this thing might just evaporate with the, like if somebody made a horrible comment that was accurate and I trusted them, it might destroy my desire to keep doing it. You know?
Really?
I don't know if it actually would, but it would definitely like discourage me, you know.
I would think that if you got that kind of hate, then you're probably doing something right.
I think so too. But
that's actually true.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I just recently had an experience with this where my first tweet that ever went viral.
Yeah. Oh,
I
nice.
did a paint over. Yeah.
Congrats.
Oh, thanks. It means nothing. Let me tell you what happened. So I made a makeover of Pokemon Legends because the game kind of doesn't look as good as some of the other previous Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I did a paint over of it, exactly how I would do concept art.
Yeah.
And I did a side-by-side comparison. I posted that on my Twitter, like 45,000 likes on it, like tons of retweets, and like the first 25,000 of them are like, oh, this is so great. Oh, please do more. This is wonderful. Oh, you're a great artist, blah, blah, blah. And then once it reaches this tipping point, then people go, oh, this is popular.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
There are better artists than you out there.
Right.
And I'm like, reading the comments, and I'm like, they don't even know what I do, who I am. To them, this is just their thoughts, their insecurities or whatever. But sometimes once you've either tapped in close to the truth, you're going to piss people off.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with some recent popular podcasts, just through exploring, just conversations, and also once you're onto something that other people can't easily acquire, they get angry at you for sort of leaving them, or because to some extent it kind of proves that they could do something as well if they dreamed of doing a podcast and you're a popular podcaster. Well, what's so special about you? I got interesting things to say, interesting friends, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, and so before you know it, it's a reflection of their own feeling that, like, I could have done more. Yeah.
And like, why me? You know, it's like, why might I get the attention versus them? You know, and it's like,
you might feel that.
No. Well,
they might.
They might feel that.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And it's like a, and again, it goes back to the formless potential thing. It's all just about going and doing it. You know? Yeah. It's like the reason somebody might not have been successful is just they didn't give it a good enough attempt. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's that they want things to be different than they are.
Yeah.
Like, even if you had the keys to the door, but you're like, nah, this isn't a key. I was told that this isn't a key. I'm telling you, if you tell me this is a key again, I'm going to smack you. And it's like, no, but it's a key, and right there's the door. And it's like, get out of my face with the key. Like, but it's right there, you know, like this is right there, and they're going to just get angry at the person telling them that it is literally a key to that door. Because they can't believe it. They've tried it, it didn't work, and for some reason it didn't work for them, so they can't believe it, so they get angry. Because it couldn't just be that sometimes there's luck meeting with preparedness.
Absolutely. Well, and I think maybe like me, I was thinking about this the other day. It's like if I wanted to start a podcast, it would have been easier to just like do it over Zoom calls. You know?
Yeah, probably, but
and not live in a van, and you know. But I don't know. I think
it's less interesting.
Less interesting, right? It's not something I would personally be excited about doing.
Yeah, but you know, you need like a disco ball here, or like different props or something.
Yeah. Well, I normally have a fire that I light. I just ran out of fuel.
Oh, really? Well, today we got some nice sun.
Yeah.
We're kind of backlit though. I wonder if we're gonna get decent footage.
Every single one is backlit. So.
Oh, is that right? I guess that's true.
Yeah.
You need maybe some like lights coming this way to really enhance the.
I think I'm gonna upgrade my van.
Whoa!
I think I'm gonna buy one I can stand up in. So this is a temporary van situation.
Is it still sketchy then?
It's gonna be less sketchy. It's not gonna be a rape van. You know? It's gonna be like a like a Brand Pro Master.
I guess you could stuff like a blow up doll in the corner to keep it sketchy.
Keep it weird. Dude, I was dropped off a friend last night, and her neighbor in the morning fucking woke me up. I was like, dude, I'm gonna call the police. You better fucking leave. You know? Oh,
because of the van?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
I was just sleeping.
Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was sleeping on the street. You know.
Yeah. Where were you? What city?
Oceanside. So kind of near Camp Pendleton and stuff. So
okay.
He kind of looked like a Marine. So I totally understand.
I got you.
But it's So it's still got the sketchy.
Yeah, you still got it.
Still got it, man.
Going back real quick, the thing that I was going to say is like at some point about the negative comments, for instance, at some point you just like Joe Rogan was talking about this. He's like, I don't read the comments anymore. My only interactions with people are face to face. And the funny thing is like, and I'm trying this out recently too, where it's hard because like. You know, I want to answer questions in my comments, etc. So I have my wife actually like dig up questions, or you know, I just kind of try to go with my gut. But my point being, if you're interfacing only with people directly, you never have to hear their inner thoughts about how they hate you, or they don't like your opinion about this thing, so now they can't stand your art because they don't like your opinion about the thing, or whatever it is, whatever criticism they might feel. They don't. Nobody walks up to you and expresses that in person. They wouldn't. There's a decorum that happens in real life that is gone with the internet, and people feel like they can just express whatever. Sometimes it's just to get attention or out of you too.
Well, and they might not even. I mean, I heard Rogan talk about this too. They don't even think that the person that they're commenting to is going to read it. You know,
right? Or that it's a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
I've read some really awful stuff. Yeah, people could be really cold, but. Like I said, it was in every one of those cases. It was on a video that had over 100,000 views. Yeah, it's like, well, I think I know the real reason why. The real reason is usually because they never had a video that did that well. But what they don't realize is it's not like it pays a big pile of money. It's not like it's enviable. You know what my viral Pokemon image that I told you about on Twitter? You know what that did for me? Jack shit.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I got more subscribers, more followers, or more people that were like,
you're awesome, Trent.
I'm gonna follow you, or there was none of that, and I didn't increase sales or anything like that either. Yeah, so
you got some temporary internet points, you know.
Yeah, basically.
You get to talk about it, you know, on a podcast, you know.
There you go. Yeah. That's not to say, hey, it's not worth doing entertaining content. It absolutely is, you know. But don't do it for the likes and the views and the approval of other people. Yeah.
Well, a question I have, you know, I repeat this all the time, but a question I ask everybody is, would you be doing the same exact thing that you're doing right now if you had $1 billion? You know. And for me, it's like I would definitely be doing this podcast if I had $1 billion.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
sketchy van.
Yeah. Well, I'd have a nicer van. You know, I could fit my.
Maybe the sketchy yacht.
Yeah, the sketchy. Podcast. Yeah, the sketchy. Yeah. Oh, the pirate ship podcast or something.
Okay.
Doing like a sailboat or something.
The sketchy Spanish galleon podcast.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hey, you know that would get a lot of views.
But I would still like travel the world, and I would still like try to talk to as many people as I could, the same way. And I've tried to find what truth is, but like I think those people that are complaining about someone else's success, they're like doing things that they wouldn't do if they if they didn't have to worry about resources.
Sometimes that's just life, like a compounding of decisions that led them to a place where they can't see a way out.
Yeah.
And I don't like, that's the thing, is that when I see a comment like that, I actually don't get angry. The way I see it, I'm not saying it doesn't affect me, but do you need to adjust the microphone?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to make sure that this is...
Oh man, did it not record all this good stuff?
Oh, no, it's good. So this cable's kind of fucked up. So at the very least, we have the iPad audio, which is pretty good.
Backup.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, so I just fucked it up, but I have another cable here. I did a thing where every time I lifted this up, it would bend this slightly, so it's completely degraded the... Sorry to interrupt your thought.
No, not at all. It adds to the suspense.
Yeah.
I had some really important stuff to say. It's really good.
Oh man,
really good shit.
Yeah, you're gonna disclose the meaning of life.
No. Yeah, that's what podcasts are for.
Yeah. Okay, let's go again.
I forgot what I was.
No,
it's that. In fact, I empathize and I understand, because I've been in that position where like I wanted to say something nasty on somebody's. Like I caught somebody in like a. Being totally hypocritical. It's like, oh, I got you fucker.
Dude, I think everyone is there at some point. Mark Rabucci was telling me about his experience as like a 20-year-old guy, and like he's a big fan of hockey, I think, and his team lost, and he personally found the email of a hockey player on the other team, and it said like a bunch of horrible shit to him. And then obviously the hockey player was like, you fucking piece of shit, and he said, it's like, oh man, like, why'd I do that? Like, I was just so angry. I was so insecure, Everyone's there at some point,
And I think there is a difference between like good criticism and just vitriol. But anyway, you are you tired of talking about your trip? Your last
No.
trip?
I love talking about it.
Was it Peru?
Yeah, I was in Peru. Yeah, Peru a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's an entirely different culture. It's like they're making $300 a month or something. It's like. Around here, $300 a month is, like way less than minimum wage. You know?
Way less.
And being around them is surreal, because they're all creative, intelligent, smart people. They all live meaningful lives. It seems like they have great families and stuff, and it's not as nice, but they get by, and they're happy and stuff. And honestly, like a lot happier than a lot of the people that I know that make.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Money doesn't actually make you happier.
No, it doesn't.
Purpose does.
Yeah.
Purpose.
And I guess I don't know if traveling has made me happier, but it's allowed me to see more purpose in my life.
Right.
It's like I'm pretty naive. I think I'm pretty like I can be weird, like overly optimistic, and going into a place and just. I didn't even realize the wealth difference when I was there. It's like $100 to me is nothing compared to them. It's like $100 to them is, maybe a life-saving amount of money to some scenarios.
You just run out of battery?
Yeah, that camera just died, but we're good. Oh.
We've been talking for 2 hours.
No.
Is that what that means?
I can charge it later.
I think I have the same camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lumix.
G85. But it's traveling for me is just, it's been like a it's more highlighted my own flaws as a human being, more so than anything. It's like I'd be in Peru. I was in Peru, and and same thing when I would be in like the Grand Canyon or something on my road trip, or anywhere else. I'd be in like the best places, around the best things, and most beautiful things, and I would choose to like be lazy. I would choose to not make the most of it. And
is that just out of like overstimulation?
Overstimulation, laziness, fear. It's like a like an inability to see what's around me. Like just like lack of vision or lack of creativity, you know? It's like, it is true that, you know, I think that that there's probably people around us right now within a mile that we could probably get along with very well, you know? And it's just but I'm not going to go and seek those people out because I just don't want to, you know? I want to
I see.
it's risky, right? It's like, I don't want to walk up to strangers. I don't want to, you know, embarrass myself. I don't want to waste my time. And all of those things compound into just me not realizing the full potential of who I am and like what my life could be, you know?
It might help then to have, just as a thought, more of a specific goals in mind.
Yeah.
You know, what you want to get out of it. And it doesn't have to be what everybody else gets out of it.
Yeah.
You know, but
right.
if there is that, like, I guess turn it into a bit of a scavenger hunt. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that me doing this podcast made...
it's a purpose, a reason to be.
It made the entire road trip at least a lot more contextual. And I was taking a lot of photographs in Peru, which was really fun. But I found that like without a goal, without like a purpose to your travel or your adventures, and like an overarching purpose, and there's no journey. You know, it's like you're just like transporting from place to place, but your brain isn't going anywhere. You know.
Yeah.
It's like you can go to Rome and get Starbucks and a cheeseburger, you know,
Sure.
and then sit in your hotel room and play video games.
Yeah.
You know, you can like geographically move thousands of miles, but your mindset will still be, you know, the person you were when you were at home, you know.
Could be.
Yeah.
But it depends. Like I said, I mean, if there's a kind of a purpose that you're trying to get out of it, even with conversation, like getting to the heart of, well, for one, doing a podcast, I think is an excellent challenge because it occupies your mind. One, two, it allows you to size up various different types of personalities, and I'm sure that you've had some conversations where you're like trying to get to a certain topic or get to what is interesting about this particular guest.
Absolutely.
People are puzzles and they're fascinating, and it's infinite.
Yeah.
And so like that's fun. That's what I would be imagining you'd be doing. But like you said, within a couple of blocks, there's probably 100 people that we could sit and talk to.
Right.
But how many of them are going to be artists, or how many of them are going to think creatively, or how many of them are going to be like, maybe you just want to know about a history of the location,
right?
You know, and like that could be the puzzle that you're trying to solve, so to speak. So you're looking for a certain type of a person to unlock, so to speak. But then I know what you mean. Certainly over redundancy, like if things become redundant or repetitive, it starts to feel a little bit like, well, this is the same as what I was doing before, even though to somebody else it would be totally exciting and new.
Yeah.
First slice of pizza is always the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I made this sign. I didn't put it up. I just didn't ask, but can I put this up just for anyone else that walks by? So
I don't know that anybody will.
Well, somebody
We're in the parking lot over by the
Veggie Grill and the Cock Store.
Got to promote those places.
The corporations. Sponsors. Right?
Yeah, they need. This episode's sponsored by Cox.
Yeah, and Veggie Grill. But I was doing one with Cynics and Ahmed Eldori.
Yeah, sure.
I
saw that. Yeah. Somebody walked by.
Yeah, and these people came by, and they had hitchhiked all around Africa.
Oh, no kidding.
And
wait, did you stop to actually invite them into the van?
They walked up to us. They just like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And I told them, hey, you should come over and talk to us.
Okay.
And stayed around for about 20 minutes telling me about their landing in a biplane at the middle of the night in the middle of the Sahara Desert or something.
I haven't gotten to that part of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, well, it's like, oh man, people are just so fucking interesting. You know?
Yeah.
Like these random people, like didn't even plan it, are just fascinating. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I think that those kind of stories and opportunities for connection, they're always out there, and it's just, it's my ability to see that as something worth pursuing. You know?
What about art? I mean, like, for instance, you have the total freedom. When I went to Phuket, I spent 3 weeks in Phuket.
Yeah.
Incredible. I was in this little town, and they had like all these like statues of like these serpent dragons.
Yeah.
And I came back and I had like a sketchbook full of all these little doodles of like serpent dragons. Like, being exposed to new, historical architecture or themes like that. It seems like that's an interesting enough reason to visit some of these places, if only to fill a sketchbook.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and again, I think it's just a matter of like, it's like going out and doing it. Like art recently has just not been as inspiring to me for whatever reason. Like I didn't draw at all in Peru,
Really?
I just didn't feel like it.
Huh.
I did a little bit. I did some sketches of our guides, but other than that, I didn't really do anything else. And
is it just a phase? Just kind of burned out on it?
yeah, just kind of burnt out. It's like, I like working for Proco. I'm like, I feel like I have some internal pressure to be a lot better than I am, And because of that pressure, it's like, oh man, I'm going to be disappointed in what I do no matter what, which is completely an internal thing. But, I think it's just a matter of like getting back into art and like a little bit more of like a low pressure. I started a sketch group in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
So just on Meetup or something.
I'm guessing that's where your place is that you got.
Yeah.
It's close to work. And,
yeah. It's like 10 minutes away or something. But it's been nice. It's like, very like professionals don't show up or anything. It's more of just like students and hobbyists that we're all just sitting around and drawing together for fun,
Yeah.
And that's been really liberating for me. It's like something that's just like the spirit of it is just to socialize essentially, and then like build connections with people.
Yeah, that's the best reason to do anything.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about just bringing celebrity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, although it is nice to meet people that you look up to and get a little insight. But I guess that's why we have things like podcasts now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's really probably very rewarding, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure you get ideas for like new places to visit too.
Well, again, I think San Diego it has an incredible wealth of just things to do, and like having a context to go. It's like we'll do the sketch group at Balboa Park, and then Liberty Station, and then all these other places. And I was like, I go to a place I never would have been to otherwise.
Yeah.
And I'm actually seeing, my home essentially as a completely different place.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes a more interesting, thing to do.
Yeah.
Like
when you say your home, you mean like your hometown, or?
Yeah. Like I guess Southern California is my home.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd relate to this, but I think I have this impulse to see the place I was born and spent a lot of my youth in as like not that interesting. It's like, like I'll just go to In-N-Out, or I'll just like, play video games, or like I won't do things that aren't necessarily that adventurous.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's surfing. There's all these amazing, incredible things to do in Southern California.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it too. Yeah, that's why I stayed here. I'm not from California.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep checking.
Yeah, I'm a transplant too. So
cool.
like.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I moved here when I was like 21 years old. I lived in Hollywood for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, just moving from, the Midwest. Just first of all, the weather.
Yeah.
Don't want to deal with the snow. I don't know how people do it. Yeah. It's beautiful, like looking at pictures.
Yeah.
But hey, we got snow out here if you go up to the mountains.
Yeah.
But it's mostly, I think it's the weather is a big part of it. Yeah, having stuff to do, such as like go out to the ocean. But if you're working all the time, it doesn't matter. And like I said, for the last 20 years, I've just been a workaholic. So it's kind of like, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I get to enjoy it a little bit more. So it's kind of a new lease on life to just new world experiences. That's just it's not gonna stay up. Yeah. But I think there are still, it is tricky because when I travel, a lot of times I do feel that too, where it's like I just kind of want to get home to California. I love it. I also have a lot of problems with California. Now, I don't live in like Los Angeles where there's a lot of the problems that they have, where we just don't have that here where we live. Yeah. So I kind of feel spoiled, in that way, quite honestly. And I feel spoiled that I got here at such a young age when I could afford it. Yeah, right. And having that job, having the jobs that I had was like huge. Yeah, it was integral for like buying real estate is probably like the best thing you could possibly do. In California, especially, even if it's like inland, just like I was out in Temecula just last weekend, and man, it's beautiful. Yeah. Just like hills, it's like kind of a desert, but kind of not. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Suburban a little bit, but like very upscale, very nice, and like. And I was thinking, man, like, if I was a younger guy, I'd just move to a cheaper town outside of the city, buy a home, and just build like some roots in there so that even if you're traveling, just as time goes on, inflation will just kick your ass. Inflation is the worst tax in our entire American history, and they just keep doing it right now. But once you build some roots, and over time everything gets cheaper and more stable. And I was just listening to Lucid Pixel talk about that. He was saying he's in his mid-40s, like, for the first time in my life, I feel stable. Yeah, I guarantee you he owns property. Yeah. Absolutely. Because at some point, it's just stability.
Well, and I think that's part of the, one of the dangers of, I guess, working in the arts industry, or just aspiring for any job particularly, is that building wealth is a lot more about owning assets versus, being paid a ton of money.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Yeah, like you could be paid $500,000 to $600,000 a year and still be living paycheck to paycheck.
And miserable too.
Yeah, and it's
I've known people like that.
I guess the purpose of this is not money at all. It's stability. It's all just like, feeling okay with who you are, and feeling okay, like, knowing that you're going to be able to make ends meet and feed your family and feed yourself, and like not be kicked out of your house,
Right. I've done a number of videos about how a frugal lifestyle is the path to creative freedom, and how for a lot of people it's like, man, I've read, there's this book called The Simple Path to Wealth. I think I mentioned it to you. But it's kind of like, it ties into this minimalist kind of a lifestyle. There's a lot of things that we end up working a job to buy, stuff we don't need. Tyler Durden had a lot of wisdom.
Absolutely,
and Martha Stewart. No, no, but like, there's certainly a kind of like less, actually does allow you a lot more freedom, having less responsibilities, having less bills, having less of those things. So like, then it allows you to do what you want.
Right.
So like, I remember another artist was saying like, why would an artist ever want to retire? It's like, well, I get like not wanting to like stop.
Yeah.
But to finally own what you do, to finally, like, I think also, who else? Koro. You know Koro?
No.
From Massive Black?
No.
He was one of the owners of Massive Black, and he bought a barn out in Washington. And right as he was retired, it was like when I first met him, and he's like, I just paint whatever I want. It doesn't. I don't even know if he releases it. Honestly, I haven't really followed him, but like, his whole thing was just to be able to. He had spent like 10 or 15 years just designing characters for Watch Dogs and like all these Ubisoft games and all this. They would do these big, huge contracts. They had like Jason Chan used to work for them. Like, I'm sure most people still know who he is. And but my point is that retirement for me was always just the desire to have the total creative freedom, which is really, in a lot of ways, what a lot of people aspire to when they just say, well, I just want to do art for a career. They feel like that would be freedom.
Absolutely.
But it's still a job. Once you get there, you realize, well, it's nice to do art for a living. Like, I want to do what I want to do. And that's not everybody either, by the way. I've met a lot of artists who are just like, hey, give me a task. I don't need to do my own ideas. Just give me a task in front of me. I've worked with some of the artists like that, and I love working with them. Because it's like, oh, they'll just do 50 iterations of a character, and they're happy to do that. They love it. So I wouldn't want to project onto other people what I want out of my life, or retirement or creative freedom.
Right.
But I grew up inspired by guys like Todd McFarlane and the old comic book guys that were just like
financially independent.
We're going to go on our own. And they didn't really take much of a risk, though.
Right.
Because they could have just gone back to Marvel. Or
I
guess they could still go back to.
But I guess it's like it would suck though, right?
No. I mean, it's not that it's horrible. It's just like you said, finite amount of time.
Yeah.
You're gonna get everything you want out of life.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna try.
Well, I think for Todd, making the Spawn movies,
that's huge.
That's huge for him. Like
he's been wanting to do that for. Well, he did it before once.
But I guess he wants to to really do it. Like make it a huge thing. It always goes back to the meaning stuff. And like, I think that there's so many things that we could potentially care about, and the fact that we care about anything specifically is probably really meaningful. It's like no matter what you do, you're probably going to draw at least a little bit in your life. Like even if you had the choice not to, financially, until you die, you probably sketch a little bit here and there. Right?
No, of course. I don't want to misrepresent myself. I do enjoy creating. Like I've been working on the Twilight Monk art book, and that's just been a blast. A lot of the art from that is going into the game.
Yeah. Right.
So, like I mean, being able to visually make something that looks as good as or better than any NES or SNES or PlayStation game that I ever played. Like, I know that's a bold statement, but I'm saying like being able to visually recreate that that's pretty damn awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and for me, Brogan is actually a big inspiration for the podcast. Just like long format conversations with people. You know, it's like unedited, just going for it.
You need to get Alex Jones on here.
Yeah, I would get Alex Jones on here.
Would you?
I totally would. I want to get.
I don't know if he'd fit actually.
No, he's pretty big.
Squeezed in here.
Yeah. Well, when I get a nicer van, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe do you want to be on the podcast with Alex Jones?
Yeah, sure. That would be fun.
Cool.
He seems like a really funny guy.
Yeah. Well, if somebody knows Alex, to tell him to reach out to me, and we could. I'll drive over to his house.
Have you been out to Austin much?
Yeah. I drove through there on my way back.
Oh yeah.
I love it there.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, I had a lot of my friends moved out there that like left Riot.
Yeah.
Bought a little house back when it was cheap.
Yeah.
They blew up. Austin blew up in the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's huge.
Really expensive now.
Yeah.
I mean, good for them. They bought properties, so like they're doing okay.
Yeah.
But again, move out of town, go to somewhere small. It's better. I think it's better to be a big fish in a small pond
Absolutely.
than to be a small fish in a big pond.
Well, then eventually that pond grows and you scale up with the pond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how you make a mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are a lot of indie guys that a lot of indie game developers that tried to get jobs at game studios, got shot down, and then they decided, fuck it. I'm going to make my own thing. And because they were so different, their work stood out in the indie game scene.
Yeah.
And so they blew up as indie devs, and they just went, wow, I'm glad I didn't get that job at the big game studio.
Well, and they ended up making way more money doing that than they ever would have. You know.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Those are
rare, but I guess
to say like indie games are where the money's at. It's really not.
Yeah. Well, it can be a sustainable way of making a living, though. You know?
I think if you handle your business right.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with networking too.
Yeah,
and meeting other developers. I've been trying to reach out more to indie game developers. Just people who've already released games, learn from them and find out how they marketed. It's always been my shortfall.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with marketing.
Yeah.
So that's why I actually really appreciated working with your team over at Proco.
Yeah.
On that, what did I do? Was it the Hearthstone?
No. It was released like a workshop thing. Like
it was a landscape. It was this facility workshop on Proco.
Yeah.
Should I do more?
Yeah. You totally.
Do people
should.
want that?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
Man. Yeah, people care about what you have to say, man.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Fuck you, dude.
Come on. What?
Beat you up.
I have nothing to say. No, but it was fun. And in fact, like I said, now I'm turning a lot more of my attention towards, like, my two jobs right now are Twilight Monk and art education.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do.
Yeah. And if you ever wanted to do more Proco stuff, Totally.
So, that is art education. And so, like,
absolutely.
getting on more platforms.
Yeah.
And, I was also thinking about what you were saying about just getting into more overseas markets, because I'm really not.
Right.
And I haven't really been active about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, though, the thing that I get fired up about when I wake up in the morning, programming Twilight Monk.
Nice, yeah. Well,
it's weird, because I look at fucking code more than I look at pixels and art, but like...
Well, but you're still trying, like, again, it goes back to the communicating of ideas. Like, doing math and all that kind of stuff can communicate the ideas you want to communicate better than drawing pictures directly,
Here's what's beautiful about it. To me, next evolution of art, for me, because it's where art and science meet. I have a very analytical mind.
Yeah.
I love to problem solve.
Right.
And when that problem solving leads to an interactive art experience, so like, not only am I just creating a cool painting of a character now I'm animating how they move.
Right.
Now I'm animating their little things that they do that, whatever it is. If they got like a little funny dance that they do, their personalities are coming to life more.
Right.
And I can give that to somebody and they can have their own experience with it completely separate from me being involved with them.
Yeah.
Like, it's me talking to them without me even being present.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
So to me, it's art coming to life in an interactive way that can dazzle the viewer, the player, in a way that, yeah, I mean, in some ways, I'm hoping to kind of bridge that more of where, art meets games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think it's all synonymous. I mean, I see lots of people on YouTube documenting their entire game development process as part of the actual advertising of it, with the education of it.
That is part of it, yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
The trick is, I do not want to become a programming teacher.
It does not sound very fun.
I had some really good teachers in the sense that, like, I found YouTubers who taught programming, and man, just it made all the difference. Yeah. But I saw the way that people would ask questions like, "Oh, I don't know why my code doesn't work. Here it is," and it's like sometimes it's like you forget a semicolon.
Right. Yeah, so, or
and
a tab
the whole thing crashes, and that's so like, oh shit! I just spent 2 days on that, and now I don't understand because it crashes every time because I left a semicolon, and like a teacher would have to stop what they're doing to like go, well, let's do a scan, look through every line of code, and like to me, I don't want to do that. Teaching art, yeah, sure, that's fun for me, still fun. Yeah. It's not like, but it's exhausting. Yeah. When I do a workshop, I just did a landscape workshop. Yeah. Huge ordeal. 25 hours of footage. Yeah. 25 hours. And I'm not talking just time-lapse shit. Yeah. I'm talking like I'm explaining every brush, every like layer effect, gradient maps, like composition, breaking it all down. And I'm exhausted. Yeah. And I like the last 2 hours of it, I was just like, I didn't even want to put them out. I waited like 2 months. Right. I was like, I'm going to add these later because I'm fried. Yeah. It takes so much out of me. So I can only do like maybe 2 or 3 real workshops per year. Yeah. But the easy art lesson stuff is just so much. That's just fun. It's like, here's how to draw a pirate. Right. Yeah. Super easy. Yeah. Super fun. And actually, that's been pretty good for me. So
Well, and I think, when I look at concept art, I think that a lot of people they choose concept art specifically because it's like an avenue to just draw more and just be creative, But it doesn't have to be concept art, Like a lot of people just want to sit, like they don't even want to be professional artists. They just want to sit around with their friends and like draw their D&D characters or something,
Yeah, it'd be nice if that's what concept art was.
Yeah, it's not. Right. Yeah, and I think concept art for a lot of people, like the action, like I don't think most people really want to be concept artists.
The reality of it.
Yeah, it's like drawing the same pocket 50,000 times or something, or it's like people just want to like again make cool shit, and
be appreciated for that.
And be appreciated for it,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that ultimately that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah,
it's like I empathize with that because I felt it. I've been at the bottom of the barrel. Nobody knows me. Can't even get a retweet. Right. And I've been viral with my Pokemon Twitter picture with 40,000 likes. And honestly, like, none of that matters. Like, this matters, or like the time with my family matters. Yeah. Like the time of my experiences of like creating something. Like I said, waking up in the morning, I get way more excited to wake up in the morning and program out a little character that animates, or like I'm testing a battle with this little enemy type right now, and it's like, what's it going to do? Like, just tweaking a couple of variables and like, oh, now it's fun. Yeah. Like, oh, nice. My characters, my art is challenging me. My art is kicking my own ass. Like, I love that, you know, and like nothing as exciting to me as that. And ultimately, like, that was why I kind of had to step away from concept art too, was like, if you're just perpetuating that, like, frustrations with if you feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over, let it go. Like with your podcast, if you suddenly started to feel like, I just don't want to talk to people, I don't want to do my podcast anymore, you know what? Start doing recorded videos. Yeah. Like, use the momentum of the thing that you've been doing. Like, try to instill that excitement of the thing that you would love into what you're doing. And if you can, hopefully, financially, you know, make a little bit of a slight shift, and absolutely, you might find a new avenue of expression that still like gives you that enthusiasm and that feeling of reward.
Well, and treating it as something that's always shifting too. You know, it's never going to be the final product. You know, it's never going to be finished. And
it never is. Yeah, I never feel like anything is. I released a couple of novels the last couple of years, and I feel like I want to rewrite them.
Yeah. It's like, well, again, it's part of the reason why I really admire what Rogan did, is because it's just him dicking around. Like, it's just him being like a crazy person, essentially, you know?
Sometimes, but I feel like he is digging, like, sometimes he's really challenging his guests, and I like that. I like that he's open to just hearing different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what's the real value of the Rogan podcast, I think. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's like, we live in a time when if people don't like your opinion, it's like everybody grew up on iPads now, and we just want to like switch the channel or power off our things coming into our brains.
Yeah.
So we try to do that with people now. It's like, yo, sometimes when we grew up, when I was a kid, I mean, there was TV channels, there's like 13 channels on.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't like what's on, just go in the other room or do something else.
Right.
So like, there's I think what the value of the Joe Rogan podcast is even if he disagrees with people, he lets them be heard.
Yeah.
He lets them speak, at least, and if they're an expert in their field, even more power to them. If people choose to like what they say, that's great. If they don't, they can just choose to not like that guest, but still enjoy the Rogan podcast.
Absolutely.
And that's what I think is the value, because he doesn't just shut people off and go, you're out of here. I don't like what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I disagree with a lot of the things he has to say, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, I like listening to this guy. Like, it's so raw. It's so like honest. True. Yeah.
He's kind of a bro.
Yeah, he's so bro, man.
I'm not into like MMA fighting. I'm not into like I mean, I lift weights, but like not like he does. Like he's like hardcore. He is a bro.
Yeah, talking about elk hunting and shit.
Yeah, elk hunting and shit. Which actually, that does sound fun.
I would do that.
Let's go elk hunting.
I'd be down. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like a survival trip or something in a jungle. I would do that in a jungle.
Well, I was talking to Modern Day James, Ahmed Eldori, like Steven Zapata, like a bunch of other YouTubers about doing a Utah trip at some point.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. If you'd be down, it'd be fun to have
go.
you.
Yeah, sure. I don't know those guys. I mean, I know Modern Day James. Back when he started out, he messaged me a couple of times. He was like, "Hey, you should come on and do like a podcast on my channel." I'll tell it like now, like if you ask me now, I'd do it. Just at the time, I was like, just so focused on. I was doing 3 videos a week. Trying to build up my own channel. I was like, I could go and promote his channel. You promote my that's not what it was.
I totally get it.
It was just that I think I wasn't.
Huge time commitment.
No, it wasn't time commitment. It was that. Well, yeah, it was partly, but it was also that like didn't know how to. I wasn't comfortable. I think at the time I was still drinking whiskey just to be comfortable on camera.
Right.
Now it's like nothing to me.
Yeah.
So like I'm the same person.
Right.
When the cameras are rolling, I get a little jittery before I hit record or whatever.
I do too.
But like, for the most part, same person.
Yeah.
I maybe tone it back. Like I'm not going to talk about dick jokes to my grandmother.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like there's certain things I don't want to talk about. But like at the same time, like for the most part, it's like same, just
being yourself. Absolutely. Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
And also, there was. Yeah, at that time there were like a few people out there. YouTube breeds a kind of vitriol, and not just with people who view, but sometimes there are people who like are up and coming artists who just want to get popular by ripping on more popular YouTubers because it gets them more views. Right. And that's another reason why I've enjoyed not being too successful.
Yeah.
I don't like being like average dude, just a guy. It's just kind of cool that he has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's where I like being right there. I could do all the clickbaity shit.
Right.
I could do the jazza stuff.
The titles,
I could do the flashy, because a lot of YouTubing is lies. Yeah. You have to lie to become popular, or bullshit, or make content for 8-year-olds. I don't care about any of those things. Right. They don't add value to the world or to my life. Right. So why would I do that? Every video I do, I try to add value to people's lives.
Absolutely. Again, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to essentially just recreate the Rogan podcast, but for artists, Yeah, right. It's like long format conversations about real shit. What do we actually like doing? It's like who are we actually, but beyond just the tutorial side of who
we haven't really talked about any of that stuff with me. Yeah. There's so much.
Well, I mean, it's like with these kind of things, it's like a sorry.
No, it's okay. Just getting my neck is a little stiff. That's all right.
Yeah. Wrap up soon if you like, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah. I guess it's like just trying to trying to be honest. I am self-conscious. I get pretty bad social anxiety.
Really? Well, this is really good for you then.
It's been amazing.
Facing your fears.
Facing my fears. Being on camera is really scary. Like, I am talking with a lot of people in in general, and there is like a fear of like saying something that'll make me look stupid, you know?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Well,
like
yeah, I guess, I feel that too sometimes, sure, but we all say stupid shit at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
right.
like part of the fun of it, is if you can laugh at it.
Yeah. I talked about Jordan Peterson on a previous episode that I haven't released yet, and I think it's going to be an interesting, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I like Jordan Peterson.
I like Jordan Peterson a lot.
But do you really?
I love him.
It's interesting. Yeah, very fascinating. That guy's like in my head.
Yeah.
Because like I'll be dealing with something, and he'll do a thing on an interview, and it's like he's addressing that exact thing.
Yeah, very precise.
But like I grew up with like a very let's just say it was a volatile household.
Yeah.
And I was raised by my mother.
Yeah.
And so like finding 12 rules to life, very powerful for just finding independence and sort of self-assurance, or
Absolutely.
finding a kind of like a rock and just going, well, look, I don't need to make everybody in the world happy. I just need to do what I feel is my values are correct.
Yeah.
And that's without what everybody just assumes about the guy.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of shit that's like, oh, he's this, he's that, and it's like,
No, yeah.
are you talking about the same dude? Do you just shut him off, or do you even like listen to what he said?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's I think again what it goes back to with the Joe Rogan thing, where it's like, I don't think they're politically aligned,
No.
but they can have an interesting conversation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the same thing with Alex Jones too. Like, I'll listen to Alex Jones talk. You know?
Yeah, right.
I disagree with him on every single
Almost
thing.
just about everything.
It's the same thing with Ben Shapiro. It's like,
Right.
but I appreciate the opportunity to listen to him. Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize, it's all fucking entertainment anyway.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's, if you clicked, they got you. They don't care
absolutely.
if they don't care if you hate them.
Yeah.
You clicked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something really admirable about that. Like, I don't really care what you think of me. I'm just gonna have this conversation. It doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah. Oh man, look up some old. I admire this guy, but I totally disagree with him. Johnny Rotten.
I've never heard of him. But...
He's from the Sex Pistols.
Okay.
Old interviews, and he's like, oh, I don't really care what you think of me. Fuck you and your opinion. That's a waste of
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
And he's like, just 80s punker, And I was like, wow, this guy interviews like, it's the opposite of everything.
Yeah.
That people try to put on their best face.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, sure, they were assholes and people hated them, and he'd give them the finger. He'd give you the finger. It's just like, fuck you, you don't like me? Okay,
fuck you.
Right. So I love that stuff. But at the same time, which is interesting, it's like, I also really like Alan Watts, which is like the polar freaking opposite of Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, right. I've never looked at Alan Watts.
Alan Watts is more of a theologist from the 60s and 70s, so total like stoner type of a dude. And he would do these lectures. He had like a home recording studio, and they were like lectures about the meaning of life and like what is the point and the purpose. And he was like, when we look at, he was a British guy too, he had a really cool accent, really fun to listen to. He talks about how there's no point in trying, it's just being.
Right.
Because, and it's kind of the idea of pneuma. I don't know if you know what that is. It's kind of this concept and idea that we're all part of this spiritual entity, that after we die, we just become part of this ball of energy, but then we may choose to experience life again.
Yeah.
And that the conflicts of our lives are really just like a movie.
Right.
So it's just a play, kind of a model, like playing out, like entertainment, like actors on stage. And when we die, the masks come off, and the actor bows to the audience.
Right.
And everybody cheers, because what a show.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the idea of a lot of what Alan Watts talked about with his philosophies, and a lot of it's tied into Hindu beliefs as well. And I don't want to categorize all of that. Let's just say very interesting, introspective, kind of what's the meaning of life kind of shit that only when you have leisure time can you really enjoy.
Yeah.
And as I'm painting for a long time, I would just go into that.
Just think about it.
And it was really intense when I had like I had a lot of health issues a few years back because of the stresses of corporate game development. And I thought it was the end for me.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was literally losing my mind.
Yeah.
And having something like that at a time when you feel the weight of so much responsibility and so much criticism and judgment and all of that on you was really helpful for me during that period of time. So Alan Watts helped me through that. But then I ultimately, on the other side of it, I was like, but there's no structure here. What's the purpose? You need a purpose. And Alan Watts never talked about that.
Yeah.
He's just looking at the ocean and going, well, what's the purpose of a wave? There's no purpose.
Right.
And that's kind of fatalistic, a little bit.
It doesn't leave you with anything to do, right?
Well, yeah, other than just be.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, great if you feel that you've got too much that you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it sucks when you do let go, because then there's like, well, what do I live for? What do I wake up early for?
Absolutely.
And I want to wake up early. I want to have a reason to wake up early.
Yeah.
Am I dragging this out? You seem like
No, absolutely no. I'm totally fine. But,
okay.
Jordan Peterson's stuff helped me with that meaning side of it, where it's like when I travel, I see that human suffering is fundamental to everyone's lives. Like, there's not a single person that I've met that doesn't have a horrible tragedy that's happened to them.
Right.
Even between us, I mean, Kevin that's a horrible. Maybe I can cut it out, but he was a friend of ours that he died when he was 35, right? 35 or 37 or something, right?
Yeah.
Lung cancer, and just, young guy, didn't smoke, didn't drink that much, healthy, and just took him out, had all these aspirations, and just a fundamental human tragedy, and Jordan Peterson's whole thing of like, you can't escape tragedy, so you should like stop feeling like such a victim all the time,
Right.
It's like the only thing that you can do is take complete responsibility for your life, because if you don't, then you start blaming other people for everything that is wrong.
Then you foster resentment.
Yeah, then you foster resentment.
And that justifies your actions against them, hostilities or aggressions, or you nurture. That was the case with. You just recently was talking about that, like with all of these like school shooters.
Yeah.
And they're like, in every one of their cases, they read their notes, and it's like they harbored and festered on these resentments and bitterness and anger, and how they were treated unfairly by society, by women, whatever it was. They nurtured that.
Right.
But had they just gone, well, sometimes life just shits on you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've got a good family. I've got this thing. Like, find that thing.
I have running water, right?
And I don't want to oversimplify the complexities of why a person loses their mind and goes into hostile violence. But and I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But
it's really complicated.
The thing is like, how often do we actually step back and go like, yo, like, maybe there's more important things than just getting that girl to go to prom with you. Or maybe there's, and I know, again, I'm oversimplifying, but like, getting people's approval isn't going to make you happier.
Right. Yeah.
And I do think we need more voices to at least address that. Like, what is our role as men, as people? Like, we want to have a society where we have justice, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to find that by shutting people off and not hearing their side, just based on your feelings, based on like a snippet. It's not enough information.
Absolutely, and I think it's kind of a tragedy that Jordan Peterson is so stereotyped the way he is, because I think, he has a lot of really brilliant things to say. I don't agree with everything that he's ever said, but the fact that he has been, I guess, grouped in with the alt-right or something, or any of that kind of stuff is like...
I don't see that.
I don't see it at all. Like, if you read his book or listen to anything that he has to say for more than a minute or 10 minutes or something, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand, It's like, clean your room, It's stand up straight with your shoulders back.
Those seem like things that your dad would tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And make sacrifices, like, be intentional, like, the things you do matter, the things you say matter.
And to be cautious with your words.
Absolutely.
And to be brave.
Yeah.
Those are things that, it's important. It's necessary.
Yeah, part of the inspiration for this podcast for me was his lecture on the story of Abraham.
Oh, really?
For the biblical series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you have to go on an adventure. You have to go out and face the dragon.
It's a good impersonation, actually.
I've done it a lot. You have to be more than what you are.
Yeah. I love those.
Yeah.
I actually did fall into more biblical studies as well a couple of years back when I was going through what I was going through as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you don't want to talk about. I caught a brief glimpse of you saying we don't want to talk about God or anything.
No. I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about technique.
Oh, okay.
But I want to talk about. I want to get as esoteric and weird as possibly can.
Just a brief thing I want to say about it, because a lot of people would go, "Oh man, Trent's a Christian, whatever."
Yeah.
Well, I am a Christian, but the thing is like, and a lot of everything that I talk about in my channel is actually grounded in Christian principles and beliefs. The thing that people get wrong, I think, about the Bible is they take it quite literally, but two, it's just a freaking good guide to a good life.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like, if you're dealing with money problems, there's actual solutions in there that can like make your life a little better. If you're dealing with like envy of other people, there's actual solutions. And I found when I'm going through something, I find a great deal of comfort in those solutions. And it grounds me.
Absolutely.
And it reminds me, look, this is the material world. And you're worried about things that are in the material world.
Yeah.
There's so much more than that, going on. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that a lot of times I think people look at the Bible and they think it's like grounds for judgment of them. And I don't think people realize that everyone who is in the Bible was a sinner. Like Moses killed a dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, not everybody, we're supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
We're humans. Right. And if you tie that in with what I was saying earlier about like this concept or this idea that maybe this is all a play.
Yeah.
It's like, well, still, you can have a pretty good play.
Yeah.
You can have a good performance. You can have a good experience with your experience as a human on this earth, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know many Christians who are like hateful Christians.
Right.
And I think part of that is because a lot of Christians know also, we all do have the capacity for a great deal of sin and evil.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of...
but we can still do good.
Yeah. Well, again, that's the idea of original sin, is that no matter how hard you try, you're going to commit sins. It's like you just can't pay attention to everything.
Right.
You're going to be resentful. You just can't help it, But there are ways of...
It's part of life.
Yeah, there are ways of curbing that and understanding it in a way that doesn't hurt other people,
That's a good point.
But it takes that repentance or something in order to actually get there. I don't consider myself a Christian or a Buddhist or Jewish or anything, but I think there's a lot of really valuable things to learn from like religious texts. Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I think the more that I travel and the more that I see the world and the more that I am exposed to the idea of God, the more I believe in the God existing, as like an absolute fact. Like I can't escape from it, essentially,
Have you considered the possibility that, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, is that we perceive God like in some way that he's some entity like out there going, oh, you. Right. Yeah. But what if it's just that God is love? Yeah. And we talk about like humans have this capacity to sacrifice their life for someone they don't know. Yeah. That's love.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe that is what separates us from animals. Yeah. The animals don't usually do that.
Right.
I mean, maybe somebody could find some YouTube video where like some animal risked their life to save another animal. But my point is that with humans, the big distinguishing factor is our consciousness and our sense of wanting to help other people and our compassion for other people. And so in that way, maybe that is in and of itself, that is what love is. Yeah. Or the act of creation when the Bible actually says to be like Jesus. Yeah. To create. Right. Absolutely. God created.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also, absolutely. I absolutely. Well, and the thing that I think that humans are created in the image of God in the sense where, like, you can look at a tree, and that tree can be a hammer, it can be a spear, it can become a plank of wood, it can become anything, and it's either nothing if you're a dog or a turtle or something, or it can turn literally into anything else, that a tree can turn into. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, you're creating something out of nothing. Yeah. You're creating meaning out of a stick, or like, is this a collection of microchips and metal and whatever else, or is it a microphone?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, but it's what you decide it is.
Yeah.
It's the fact that iPhones exist is a fucking. It's like I have an existential crisis every time I look at how far we've come technologically. It's like that's just a collection of things we fucking found in the ground, essentially. Like literally.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like how far we've come as humans, just in like such a short period of time too. I mean, in our lifespan, it feels like it's all we've known. Yeah. For the most part. Right. But when you look at the entirety of how long humans have been around, like this is a pretty small period of time to advance so rapidly.
It's amazing. Well, I don't know if I definitely don't believe in the literal miracles of the Bible, like turning water into wine or walking on water or anything. But I believe in miracles that I can observe, which is like, you can take if we wanted to, we could take a flight to Dubai right now, or we can go and like drive across the country, or and there's enough infrastructure in between here and the other side of the continent for you to eat enough, to sleep comfortable places, enough road for you to drive on, which would, require tens of thousands or millions and millions of man hours of effort just to build the roads, just to get the materials. When anyone says their life doesn't matter, I think it's totally ridiculous, because for those roads to be built, there needed to be language first, and numbers, and there needed to be things to entertain those people while they're building roads in their off time,
Right.
It's like everything is all related to everything else,
Well, not just that, but interactions between people.
Absolutely.
You can have a conversation with somebody that affects their lives.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with people that to this day I still remember, that affected why I chose to do what I did with my life.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's they weren't like a famous person. It was just somebody that I met, casually at a comic book convention or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah. So every interaction you have can matter too, as well.
Well, and again, that's what I was saying before about my own personal flaws, is that I can choose to decide things don't matter. Like, I could look at that tree and be like, that's just a tree,
Yeah.
I don't want to take the responsibility of turning it into something other than just formless potential, and I think that's part of the idea of original sin, is that we can look at formless potential and be like, I don't want to do that, I just want to sit around and eat cupcakes and, which I think there is time to eat cupcakes, but
Alan Watts would agree.
Yeah,
to play, enjoy those cupcakes. It's not your responsibility.
Right. Cupcakes are pretty sick.
But I do. But I think I know what you mean. It's like, what if there was a thing that you could do?
Yeah.
And you're not.
Well, the example that I use is that I was a vegetarian for about 2 years, which means that I acknowledge that eating meat is bad. I think factory farming is horrible, but not so bad to where I'm willing to give up ice cream. Ice cream is tastier to me to not give up that.
Is that why you were?
It was the ethical reasons.
Okay.
I've been eating meat recently, but it's like, I could decide that it's, I could decide that eating meat is bad, eating animal products is evil, but still do it, because I don't want to give up eggs or ice cream. I like that in my life, more than the ethical benefit of giving up factory farm stuff.
It's also tricky too, because where do you draw the line? I mean, there are a lot of animals that are killed in the growth of plants and vegetables too.
Yeah.
And the fact is, there's a lot of people that are very upset about certain things that cause a lot of environmental damage, for instance. But it's like, we also use a lot of internet usage, and there's a lot of server farms that are burning up a ton of energy.
Right.
And they maybe make a 30-minute video on YouTube about how they think it's so wrong that we're burning all this energy. Right. But meanwhile, their video is being hosted. It's got 20 or 30 million views on it or whatever, being hosted on YouTube, where tons and tons of energy is being burned, carbon emissions, to run the servers that are going to host that video. So where is it okay and where is it not? And you can't just go, well, we should have a consensus on this is acceptable destruction to our planet, or this is acceptable. It's really
extremely messy.
And I think there are a lot of more immediate problems than some of those issues. But I at the same time, I don't want to be judgmental towards anybody who is vegetarian. I went through vegetarian periods of time. I've gone through extreme carnivore periods of time for health reasons. And both are. Who's to say what's right or wrong? I'm not an expert on those fields, but I know for me, what I had to do for some of the health issues that I had.
Yeah. Well, and again, I don't think there's anything wrong with, there isn't anything wrong with eating meat, I don't think. And I think that often these problems are complicated in the sense where, if you own an iPhone or if you wear clothes, or in general, it's like an iPhone is probably made by somebody in China for 12 cents a day or something.
If we looked at everything we do through that lens of what's ethical, I think that people's heads would explode.
Nothing is ethical. It's crazy.
Just to be alive is unethical in a modern society. If you're not riding your bike to work, and even then, if you're not growing your own vegetables,
building
that you're
your own
eating,
bike, right?
Building your own home, and recycling your own air. If you're not doing all these things, and then you're going to lecture people on their carbon footprint. I don't know that I can really.
Messy, right? Yeah,
it's messy. That's all I'll say. Like it's hard to. I say a lot of shit, and I'm sure that there are times when I've said things where it's like, yeah, I can't cover every aspect of every angle and every perspective, but it's good to talk about them, and at least understand, because like you said, maybe you just tone back on something when you're aware of it, and that's all you can do. It's like, well, this is an immediate thing, and like, wow, this might be a problem if everybody's doing this. Yeah. Maybe I need to tone back on that, but there's too many problems in the world to be focused on everything.
Yeah,
and it's like you can only be focused on the things in your general vicinity of what you're capable of.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the not feeling guilty or beating yourself up about any of the stuff, because you do what you can manage and then nothing more. Right. It's like to overstep means you'll burn out, and maybe
it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
You think about all the problems in the world.
It's truly tragic. It's like human tragedy is like we're gonna die at some point. I have no idea when or where, but it's like it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Do all of your interviews go like this heavy or this?
Yeah.
They do?
That's the entire goal. Yeah. I try to, because again, I think it's like when somebody looks at you, they see Trent Kaniuga, the concept artist that designed World of Warcraft or something. They don't see, the like human being. The vulnerable, like.
I'm not really that vulnerable.
Oh.
This is a character that I've put on.
Oh, yeah.
No, I suppose that's true. I mean, I thought we were just going to talk about surfing or some shit.
I think all this stuff is all related, man. It's like, again, like the why of art. It's like, why, like I think when somebody is trying to, like, what is somebody trying to do biologically when they're sitting around and drawing at night or at work? Like, there's we got here somehow, like evolutionary, it's doing something. It's achieving, like it's accomplishing, whatever. But like, it's not like we're living hyper efficiently in terms like people don't live in concrete cubes and eat nothing but rice and broccoli and chicken, which might be better for everyone.
Some people do.
But some people do. But like here, it's like, a veggie grill, and then, there's like Chick-fil-A over there.
Variety,
get all this cheese and meat and, and apparently as a society, we've decided that suffering, like animal suffering, is worth being able to have a bacon-wrapped hot dog, It's like I think that's related to the reason people do concept art,
Do you think so?
I think so. It's some weird, like biological impulse to.
I don't really think about it. I mean, when I think about a bacon-wrapped hot dog, it makes me want to stop drawing and go eat it.
Yeah, eat the bacon-wrapped hot dog.
But I'm just not like hardcore about like, I'm sure that at some point in my life I watched a documentary and I saw footage and it was like, oh my God, I'm never eating chicken again. But that's kind of gone from my memory to some extent, and I get what you're saying. Yeah, to some extent, yeah, we've almost like we don't see the slaughter of it.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is like
packaged.
I'm trying to look at it from both perspectives. It's like, as a society, the collective has agreed that this is okay, at least so far, And it's like, okay, what's the positive benefit to society for having bacon-wrapped hot dogs?
Yeah, but on the same note, you could talk about currencies. We accept currency as a mutually accepted form of exchange, but that's just because society, a majority of people accept it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily
correct, right?
Yeah, or taxation.
Yeah.
Like there was a time in American history when, like, we didn't pay taxes at all.
Yeah.
Right. Because we seceded from the British.
Yeah, right.
And so, like, that was a whole thing that we were building so much on. And it's like only because there's sort of this accepted kind of a mindset about it, generation after generation just goes, well, I guess that's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So, like, what do you mean it's not like that?
Yeah.
You can't really, like, fight it. And I think, like, there's so many things that are like that. We've got how many hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years of human history of just accepting what things were like for the generation before us.
Absolutely. Well, and I guess part of it is like
they thought it was acceptable to die in your 40s in the 1800s.
Not that long ago, right? Yeah, it's like 30.
How's that acceptable?
Yeah, I have like 12 kids and 9 of them die, and polio, and it's like, oh yeah, Timmy fell down a well and broke his leg, so we had to put him down.
That's acceptable?
Yeah, right. It's not that long ago, man.
Yeah.
The world's such a strange. I was in.
But you can't set it straight. It's like you can't like go, you guys are wrong. You know, like let's screw you. You know, like.
Well, I guess
grab your pitchfork.
Again, part of all this stuff is realizing, like, man, I'm limited. I can't do everything. Like, I can only do the things I can do. You know.
Right.
Like, I can't afford a nicer van. You know. I guess I can now, but like, I can't afford to have a really nice podcasting setup or anything. You know.
Part of okay. I mean, it's for decent. Blue Yeti and a couple of cameras.
I guess it's like as good as it can be on a budget, but it's not like I have a fancy podcasting studio in Austin or.
Oh sure.
You know, I don't have like, Elon Musk on or anything as a guest. At least not yet.
Like you said though, that wouldn't change anything.
Well, and I guess part of it is like I'm doing what I can manage. You know, doing what I know I can do versus what I like what I can do personally versus just trying to critique someone else's thing, you know?
That's all you can do. I agree with that. Yeah. There's too much of that, I think.
Absolutely.
Like it, yeah. Oh. I'm about to go on another rant.
I got time, man, if you want to keep talking. But.
YouTube game reviewers. Until you're making a game. No, I don't want to say that.
Don't make
Let's just say that, like, it's so easy to go on a 50-minute rant about how awful the bugs are in this game. It's like, damn, dude, making games is freaking hard.
Yeah, dude, and I don't know, it's like, I think, I guess I've been so surprised by how much power game reviewers have over the success of a game.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the time...
Very apparent now.
It's crazy, you know? Like, a lot of the time, more power than the actual creators of the game.
Oh, big time. You know how hard it was for me? Okay, so I was working on Blizzard games, and the guys that are doing the esports live casting are 10 times. My girlfriend had a crush on that guy.
Yeah, right.
He just comments on the shit that I make.
Yeah, right. It's like, what the heck? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's completely insane.
And the fact that she even told me about it.
It makes you angry, right?
Yeah, it made me angry. So, I was like, fuck this, I'm starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, that was me.
I broke up with her.
Okay, that's good. Nice. That's good news.
Yeah. But so in that way, it's like, I think it's kind of essential to have a voice, you know, if you're going to leave an impact on things, you know.
And not being like, I'm a loser, I'm not this, I'm not, like, being okay with who you are and acting like that's actually enough, you know. Like, playing the set of cards that you're dealt versus waiting for the perfect hand.
I think you should fully embrace the parts of, everything that's, like, imperfect just means somebody else judged it. But, like, if it is what you are, as long as you're not, impeding on other people's freedoms.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
Yeah, Johnny Rotten.
Yeah, Johnny Rotten.
I don't care what you think of me. Get on my face with that camera.
Oh, man. I'm pretty sure that's the entire goal. You know, it's to get a Spotify deal for $100 million. And
good luck. I don't know that they're passing out more of those.
Yeah.
Those are pretty limited.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be getting on. Having any. Figure it out.
Well, if nothing else, maybe impact a few people's lives in a positive way.
Dude, I had people here. I've been showing this to people, but this guy made fan art of my podcast.
That's a fan art of your podcast?
Sad-ass Satan, man.
What?
Yeah. It's a Metal Dory and Cynic Sprout, my friend Scott.
Oh, these are like their logos or icons or something?
Yeah.
I don't have a logo. Should I get a logo of some kind?
What's your current? It's just a portrait, right, on your YouTube thing?
I think it's my signature.
Yeah. For Proco has a logo, I guess.
I need to update my marketing. I've got the same banner that I've had for 3 years.
Yeah, it's a good banner, I think. Yeah, it's serviceable.
You know, that's the thing. Like, when we haven't even talked about the psychology of it, but like, when you put out like a video or two and it like suddenly does like a couple 100,000 views or something, it's like, oh, maybe I should do more of that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know, but then it's like, then you're just feeding the algorithm, and before you know it, you're like swinging a freaking Wacom tablet over your head in a field someplace just to get laughs, and it's like, it's not really what any of this was about.
Right.
I mean, I guess it can be for them. You know, more power to them if they're just having a good time. But like, you can't change what you are just because of
the views.
Like the views or the likes or dislikes. There's certain topics I won't talk about.
Yeah, well, I think for
some of that. But.
Well, I think I'm
it's cool
scared. Oh yeah, it's awesome. But I'm scared to talk about Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, honestly.
Yeah, if you want, you can cut that.
No, I want to keep it in. I want to keep it as like uncut.
As
Well,
long as it doesn't end my career.
Oh yeah. I'll send you a copy of it before.
I've mentioned Jordan Peterson on my channel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I've caught some shit for it, but at the same time, it's like I said, I'd much rather have a very small audience that are sort of more similarly aligned psychologically than to pretend to be something I'm not and make a bunch of people happy that I'm just playing a character. It's like not me. Yeah. But my channel was never just like entertainment. I try to make it entertaining, but it's not like goofing off.
Yeah, part of it is me mentioning Jordan Peterson, so people will confront me with their issues because I want to hear what they have to say.
I'm sure that you will get some people who are going to just
yeah.
I had a friend of mine who was just like, oh, that guy's this, and this, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Where are you coming from?
Yeah. Jeez.
Just shut it off entirely. So but I want to
at least have a conversation about it with people.
But here's the thing. That dude never called me again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you know.
Right.
That's what happens. I mean, I'm open to having the conversation, but like some people just shut off. They go, "Oh, you're like that?"
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They put you in a bucket and then.
Have you run into much of that?
I've had some people mention some anti-Jordan Peterson stuff. And,
well, anything. I mean, there are other issues that are just kind of hot button issues.
I guess, let's see. I don't know if I have that many controversial opinions other than I like Jordan Peterson.
No, you do.
Do I?
Yeah. You've said a few things that I think are...
Have I get kind of controversial?
Yeah, things that you said that if I were to say them on my channel, I would catch shit.
Get shit for it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But that's going to happen. I mean... but anyway, we're just shooting the shit anyway.
Yeah.
For all people know, we've been drinking for like 4 hours before we hit record.
Yeah.
So,
totally just drunk and
But anyway, it's starting to get a little chilly. You seem like you're getting cold. So.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. How should people follow you?
You can follow me on my YouTube channel.
Nice.
That's Trent Kaniuga on YouTube. It's YouTube/Trent Kaniuga.
Nice.
And then I also have aquatic-moon.com if you want to see a lot of my artwork and previews of my games and art books and novels and all the fun stuff that I get to spend every day doing. I'm so grateful to do, and so grateful to everybody who buys those books. That means a lot to me. And thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Appreciate it, man.
This is my first podcast I've ever been on.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time.
I won't be reading the comments.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the comments either. Dude, the past couple episodes have gone into some deep shit for me, potentially.
Really?
So, yeah.
I did notice you get a lot more views on those, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess unreleased ones that I haven't put out yet. I did one with Stan recently. That's probably going to... Talked about NFTs. And,
oh, fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that, but it's good that we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Save it for the next one.
Yeah, anyways. Cool.
All right.
Thanks, man. Okay, I'll cut it there. Sick.